Hey guys, it's Shawn Ziem, the host for the Webtalk Legends Podcast. This is number 76 since we started this last year. It's important to understand those that come on are sharing their story. I want you to sit back the next 30 minutes. Don't just listen, jot stuff down, put it in your phone, make little notes, have questions, reflect on what we're talking about, and we're hoping that you go and actually take action, implement some of the ideas that we're going to talk about during this conversation in the next 30 minutes. Don't forget, a couple housekeeping things. When you're watching, please engage. Drop a couple comments. Drop your favorite emojis if you're afraid to make comments. If you have questions, drop them in there. The least you can do is drop a comment where you're watching us from. And at the end, we would love for you to share that button. Hit that share button, hit that like button. And don't forget, if you like what you're hearing, hit that subscribe button and a notification bell. We're doing these every single week. Let me bring on Stephen Amaya. What's up, man? How are you?
What's going on, man? Thank you for having me, Shawn.
Thanks so much for joining us. It's a lot of fun. I like doing this. I know a lot of times it could be in person. I've done that. I do a lot of these, like a Zoom experience, but I found this is I want to bring value, and that's what we are going to do today is bring lots of value to the people that are popping in on the live and also on the replay. So before we get into it, Steve, who are you and what do you do?
Well, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Stephen Amaya. On Instagram, as Steve. Some people follow me on there. But in short, I am profession-wise, I am a real estate agent / team leader. I am also a managing partner with United Real Estate North Jersey, and I am also a mentor as well. So that's on a professional level who I am. On a personal level, I'm a new father. I'm a son. I'm a brother, boyfriend, friend, and the list goes on. So.
I like that. And a lot of people, it's funny when I ask them to introduce themselves and they only focus on that professional side, but it's really the personal side that people have to dive deeper in conversations on professional and friends and just building relationships.
For sure.
A lot of people don't realize that. And you're a new father. We're going to talk about that, man. Yep. Let's talk about it, man. Let's go down that path. How has that changed you?
That's a great question. So being a new father has been like one of the best things that has ever happened to me. It's such a great accomplishment in a sense. Some may look at it that way, some may not. But for me personally, I feel like it's given me a different outlook on life. When you don't have kids, people that have kids tell you all the time your life changes. There's nothing like it. A lot of cliche stuff that you hear people say. And then when you finally experience it for yourself, you're like, wow, okay, I understand what they're talking about now. It's really given me a sense of wanting to better myself, be a better example, be a better leader, and not only tell my daughter and how she should be a good person, but also show her, right, by example. And so a lot of the things that used to be important to me now, not that they aren't important, but right now she's like she takes priority and takes precedent. And so that's how I would say it has changed me.
No doubt about it. And are you an active dad? Are you one that gets up? I mean, I got 4 kids myself, and I love the time of like last night. My son got up in the middle of the night, give him a bottle. I enjoy that time. It sucks, yeah, you lose sleep.
Yeah.
How active are you right now? Are you one that really getting in there, man, with changing diapers?
I would say, yeah, I'm getting in there. When she wakes up, I mean, we have her on a pretty good schedule, but she wakes up now. She's about to be 4 months in a few weeks, and we have her on a pretty good schedule. She typically gives us about like a 5 to 6 hour stretch. So she'll awesome. Wake up at like 2 or 3 in the morning. And so one way or another, don't get me wrong, there are some nights where I'm just like really tired, and my girl, like, God bless her, she's amazing and she does so great with our daughter. But I really do try my best to be active, changing diapers, warming up milk, feeding her, burping her, putting her to sleep, all of that good stuff. And yeah, like you said, it could be a little intense if you're not used to it, and yes, you may be tired the next day, but it's worth it. I think that when it comes to parenting, I'm a strong believer that we have to um, do the right thing. We brought these kids into this world. Let's do right by them. Let's make them have a better experience in life than we did. Right? Make them a productive part of society.
Like you said, you're mentoring. It doesn't stop. That hat is always on. You have it during on your home. You're in your professional life. It's something that you take, and like you said, you create, or that she creates a why now. That's a stronger why than anything else in this world, because you got to take care of a human being and keep her alive.
Yep.
And that's a powerful thing to really take part of. And it's exciting, man. It's a lot of fun. I'm sure everyone's seeing it on your professional side, how it's changing you, more of a drive, the fire. Being an entrepreneur, what does that mean to you?
I think everybody has a different definition of it, right? When it comes to entrepreneur, obviously on the basic level is being in business for yourself, right? Or being self-employed. Um, what it means for me is being able to do what I want when I want to. Bottom line. I know as entrepreneurs and as individuals that are self-employed, as in real estate and any other field, most of the time we get into business for money. Obviously, you can do well, and then second, the freedom. But I think one thing that a lot of individuals have to be careful of is remembering why you got into it, right? I know that we're gonna have moments, and they're gonna continue throughout our whole life as entrepreneurs, as stressful moments when we're knees deep in our business, but we have to also remember what got us into it, right? And right now, I've been licensed now since 2014, so it's almost gonna be a decade, almost 10 years, right? And right now, having my daughter and being able to have the flexibility that I have with my schedule, I see that as such a blessing and as such a luxury. But I've laid down the groundwork over all the years, and now the fruits of my labor on that end are starting to pay off in regards to being able to spend my time how I want it. And going back to the time, scheduling is super important. Even you and I, to get on this Zoom or on this podcast today, we over a month in advance we had this on the schedule, and that's one thing that for me is super important. And for everybody out there, schedule for me, if it's not on my calendar, it's not happening. That's literally how I live. My girl, every time we have something going on, doesn't matter what it is, she is so helpful for me because she knows that whenever I see it on my calendar, it's basically consider it done unless there's something that comes up that I can't do it. That way, there's no excuses as to why I can't make it somewhere unless I already had something scheduled. So she's such a big help. She's always joking with me, and she's like, "Did I get the job yet to be assistant?" And I'm always like, "No, you're still interning. Just keep up the great work." But yeah, shout out to Natalie. Love you, baby. She anytime we have something, she literally will put it on the calendar, invite me, and then that's it. Now it's on my calendar, and it's set it and forget it. And it kind of frees up my mind to focus on the things that I'm good at, and that way I'm more clear headed.
I like that. Freeing up your mind, I believe for sure. Keeping it in a calendar. Congrats on the 10 years, man. A lot of times people being an entrepreneur, there's times that are tough, right?
Sure.
But you stick it out. A lot of times people think, I'm going to make all this money, right? Go into real estate. I'm going to make all this money. It doesn't happen usually in the beginning, unless you got lucky. Maybe you got connections. But otherwise, you have to lay that groundwork over time. Is there any time that you can share with us that man, I'm going to get out of this business? Is there something like that you can share with us?
There's a few times, and my partner and my brother Randy Williams, he's on this. He's watching.
Yep.
But he can tell you numerous times. He has walked me off the ledge so many times, especially early on in our career. But I one time in particular that I'm going to tell you two quick ones. One in particular, and just some quick background. Randy Williams and I, we did not know each other prior to real estate. We got licensed at the same time. We were both working out of the same office, but I had never met him before. And he was very known for making cold calls and prospecting and things of that nature. And I kept hearing about this guy, but I never met him. And then we finally met at the board orientation. That's where we made the connection. And we realized that we had a lot of the same goals and aspirations, and one thing led to another, and we partnered up and haven't looked back ever since. It's been if we've both been in the business almost 10 years, we've been partners probably for about maybe 8 of those years, something like that. So shout out to Randy. One of the times that I can remember that I really was like just done with it. We had a situation where our pipeline wasn't full, so we didn't have a lot of deals. We had maybe 2 or 3 that were pending, and they basically all fell apart. It was like $50,000 in commission. We were pretty new still, and it just felt like the end of the world. And I was just like, man, this is not for me. I don't know about this anymore. And he just walked me. He knows just what to say to just keep me going. Like, bro, don't worry about it. Well, we got this. So that's one of the moments. And the second story I'm about to tell you is more of a don't give up type of scenario. When I first got licensed, I was 21 years old. And I would drive for Lyft at night, right? Because I didn't make a commission check for 3 months. It took me from the time I got licensed up until I got my first check. So, bills still have to be paid, things still
Of course.
have to be taken care of. And so I remember one time back then, I don't know how Lyft does it anymore, but I didn't have Easy Pass back then. So whenever you would pick up a passenger, you wouldn't know where they were going up until they get in your car, and then And I was just praying, like, please, nobody go to New York. Please don't let me cross this bridge, because I didn't even have $20 to my name to be able to pay for that toll. And that's just like one moment that I can recall that I was like really going through it, but I just stayed the course, kept at it, did the work. And it's one of those things where in this industry, what you do today or what you don't do today will show up in the next 60 to 90 days, right? So this is a business where there's delayed gratification, and you have to be okay with that. Now, there is the exception doing rentals and things of that nature, but for the most part, whatever you do or don't do today, you will see the result of it in the next 60 to 90 days. So that's one of the reasons why it's so important for us as entrepreneurs and self-employed people and just business owners to make sure that we keep that time belt going and, keep making those connections, stay in touch with your past clients, and get in front of the people that are going to help you, get to the next level.
Oh, I thank you very much for sharing that. Now, a lot of people go down the path of going to real estate, but let's even talk about this. What do you feel about college and trade schools today? I know a lot of kids that are in school today. They're like pushed to go to college, where maybe that's not the right answer for them. What are your feelings?
So that's a great question, Shawn. I myself, some people know this, some people don't. I went to college. I didn't finish. My parents, they wanted me to go. They didn't necessarily push me. They've always given me the gift of kind of like making my own decisions, right? Which I see it as a gift. And so I got to a point when I was in school where it wasn't that I was lazy. It just was that it didn't align with what I wanted to do. I always knew I wanted to be in business for myself. And at a young age, I realized that, the more time I put into something that doesn't really align with what I'm looking for, it's just, I don't want to use the word waste of time because it's kind of harsh choice of words, but I could make better use of my time. Let's just put it that way. So, my thoughts on college and trade schools, I I think that it just depends on the individual. I think when it comes to parents, pushing it on the child after a certain age, your child they can think for themselves, and they kind of can figure out what it is that they want to do. And if going to a 4 year college doesn't necessarily align with what they want to do, then let them go the direction where they need to go. You know, I know a lot of people who are in cosmetology, barbers, all types of other lines of businesses that are very respectable, and you don't necessarily need to go through a 4 year college term, but you still need your education to learn that field. And then as far as tradesmen, I think trades, especially now, are one of the most important things, right? As adults, once you especially in real estate, right? You're selling houses, you need an electrician here, you need a plumber here. You start realizing how important these roles and people in these fields are. And I think that schools don't do a good enough job at letting kids know that it's okay to get into that type of field. It's okay to want to be a plumber, to want to be an electrician, to want to go into cosmetology, to be a nail tech, whatever it is. Not everybody is built for a 4 year degree. And then on the other end, there's a lot of individuals who are built for it and have done very well with it. On the other hand, so I think it really just depends on the individual and the characteristics of the person and the child.
No, yeah, it's definitely something that is a topic today, and you have lots and lots of debt you're putting yourself into.
Yes.
And it's like you got to be willing to. I'm always telling, you make sure that you have the right degree or right discipline you're going down. Otherwise, it might not be able to pay the bills. And it's going to be right there, right after you graduate. So,
Yep.
and it's funny to me, going back to real estate, you go to a real estate school and they don't teach you anything but to pass the test.
Right.
And that's scary. And then people say, well, what do I do if we go down the path as far as social media? We're using a medium right now to educate people, to provide some value.
Mhm.
Some people don't like to use social media. They think it's too much propaganda. People will throw hate stuff towards you. And the more successful you are, the more haters you're going to have. And that's fine. How are you using social media with personal and professional?
That's a great question. So when it comes to my social media, I'm bigger, I would say, on Instagram. That's like my favorite platform. I'm on Facebook also, not as active, but I would say I'm the most active on Instagram. When it comes to Instagram and that social media in particular, the way that I do it is some people will have a separate business and a separate personal. I like to have all in one,
Yeah.
and I kind of balance it out. I try to balance it out. A lot of it posts, if you go back to my posts, a good amount of them are business, but then in between, you'll see my personal life, right? I've always been a pretty private person, but that's something that I'm working on, and I'm kind of like letting people into my life a little bit. Um, and I like doing it that way because people, especially today, buyers, sellers, anybody that's going to do business with you, they're going to look you up online, and they're also going to look you up on social media. They want to see what you're about, right? And so I like to demonstrate to people that, like, look, I have a life too. Like, yeah, I do deals. I'm a managing partner at a brokerage, but I also have I'm a regular person too. Like, I love spending time with my family. I love to barbecue. I like working out. There's a lot of different things that I like, and so the people that are looking at my social media that may be interested in knowing a little bit more about me and maybe eventually doing business, maybe not. Either way, they can kind of see if we have similar interests. I've noticed that people, like-minded people, like doing business with each other, and for the most part, especially at this point in my career, I like to do business with people who I'm going to get along with, right? people who respect what I do. I respect what they do. In the beginning of my career, in the beginning of a lot of agents' careers, you kind of just grab onto whatever you can get. But now, as an established professional, when I'm mentoring people, I always try to have our agents avoid just grabbing um, whatever they can grab. I have them take their time and try to be selective from the very beginning. It saves you a lot of time, a lot of anguish, a lot of stress, and you learn to love the business more as opposed to dislike it. But yeah, to answer your question, as far as social media, that's how I use it. I'm big on stories too. I post way more on my stories than I do on my actual page. I'm working on doing some more content as well. As a matter of fact, I'm in my basement. I'm working on creating a little studio area here. A lot of people don't know this also, but I have a YouTube channel. I've kind of kept that under wraps for a while, but if you look me up, you can look up the name Steve Dreams, and that's just not real estate related at all. It's just a hobby. I just like posting different things. So if you ever want to check that out, you can. But this is my little studio area that I'm currently working on. So yeah, that's how I do or use social media.
No, it's something that a lot of people, those that are watching, it's you're building your, like Steve said, you share things, bits and pieces, personal, family,
Mhm.
hobbies you might do, drop a business, go back to personal, family, drop a bit. So you're building a personal brand.
Mhm.
So yes, you work for United, but they're not buying it from because you're from United. It's because they're buying it from Steve because I see what you do, and I can with video. I challenge everyone out there. I've been doing video for a while since
Yes.
2018. I know you come across, and you can come across to your prospects, to your recommendation sources, how where you are, your body language, how enthusiastic, if you are, ready to go, if you're passionate about what you're doing, it comes across better in a video than if you did a post. But a
Absolutely.
lot, a lot of people are afraid of doing it, but it's something that you put it out there. Building that brand is a very powerful thing. And you're doing it, you're mentoring, and they're seeing what you're doing. You're being a leader, and
Yep.
leaders are important to have. Now, going back to like a mindset and things that when things are not going right, you have that rejection, which we have in sales.
Mhm.
How do you deal with that? Are you one that, what are some ways or techniques that you might utilize?
Well, when it comes to mindset, I think, and again, everybody talks about it, but your morning routine is really important. I like to do my best to try to prepare for the day, right? In real estate and any business, the way I look at it is we're constantly putting out fires, and it's like a battlefield sometimes, right? And so the easiest and most simplest comparison that I can make is in the wintertime, you have your car. If you turn it on and you just go, that car is going to break down eventually, especially if it's a nicer car, right? Well, what about us, right? That analogy is making sure that you can prepare yourself mentally, physically, and emotionally before you go out there and start dealing with individuals. The real estate business, it's a people business, right? So with that being said, we speak with all different types of personalities, right? And some personalities they don't mend so well together, but as
Right.
professionals, we should be able to speak to anybody and everybody, and you need to be prepared. So for me personally, just to walk you through, I guess on and again, there's going to be days where I don't follow the routine, and you still have to be okay with moving on a day. And that's something that I learned to do, right? So working out, for example, for me, working out or doing some type of physical activity is important for me before I start my day.
Hmm.
But now, especially with my daughter and a baby and things of that nature, sometimes you don't get to it right away. And I've learned to be okay with, hey, you can still have a good day without having to have done that. Let's make up for it in another way. But in a perfect world, I like to wake up, drink some water, do some type of physical activity. That physical activity for me can either be going to the gym. I usually like to go to the gym at least 3 days a week. I could mean doing push-ups. It could mean doing a 2-mile walk. It could mean riding a Peloton. I mean, there's different ways. As long as I kind of get my heart rate going and get a little sweat on, that for me does it, right? Once I do that, usually come back home. Depend some days I'm hungry, some days I'm not. If I am a little hungry, I have a light breakfast and then I get going from there. One of the things a lot of people may not know, I'm a diabetic. I got diagnosed with diabetes last year. So with that being said, that's making me take my health more serious.
Yep.
I've always been into having a healthy lifestyle, but I used to have, habits that, don't lead to good places. So either way, now I'm constantly working on it. Especially going back to how your life changes when you have a child, you want to make sure that you're here for them for a very long time. So the three basic things is doing some type of physical activity, drinking water, and just giving some type of gratitude. I think that when we look at what we don't have, you can fill 100 pages, right? But when you're thankful for what you do have, you tend to kind of tell the universe in a way that you're willing to receive more. That's kind of how I see it. And it's, one of the things I listen to a lot of different YouTube and a lot of different guys out there, and there's one saying that that I say, especially ever since I heard it, and I'm going to pull it up. But basically, I can't find it. But I can't find it. But it's basically literally saying the words, "I believe something great is going to happen to me today." Something along those lines. Putting it out there. Why shouldn't it? That's my way of thinking these days. Is why shouldn't great things happen to me? Why shouldn't I be able to live like this? Why shouldn't I have the time to be able to own a business and to be with my family and to do the things that I want to do? You can. You just have to kind of structure your day around that.
I like that. Yeah, it's definitely, I believe as well, working out for mental health is huge. It's a great stress reliever.
Mm-hmm.
It allows you to, have those days, but and still work through it. I like how you said, now you have to find time with having a child. Yeah, it's not always, you want to do that 5 o'clock thing, but you maybe can't because they were up a couple times last night. It's finding the time to make sure you're moving. That's a very important thing. And having those affirmations, yes, speaking it into the existence, and then manifestations. Those are powerful. If you were to manifest right now, maybe one thing about a personal thing you want to put out in the world, and we want make it happen, and one professional, what would that be?
That's a great question. One of the things that I would want to manifest out into the world right now on a personal level would be to caught me on the spot, but one of the things on a personal level would be to keep getting blessings. I think that's one of the biggest things. I know it's a little bit cliche, but I feel like right now I'm very blessed. I have both my parents. I have a great partner. I have a great daughter. I have great people around me, and I think it's important to, like I said, be thankful for that type of stuff and to keep on welcoming it. I think money is important, right? That's why a lot of people are in business, right? You want to make money, and money brings a lot of great things. But for me now, these days, time is a lot more important. Time I won't get back. Money, it comes, it goes. You spend it, you lose it. It is what it is. But the time, right? Those moments that you spend with your loved ones, and those moments that you spend with your child or your partner, you don't get those back. So you have to cherish them. And for me, I would say my manifestation for my personal life is to keep an open heart for blessings, Um, and yeah, that's for me personally on that level. And then for professional level, one of the manifestations that I would like to make is to recruit and have have 100 agents join United Real Estate. We have a lot of great things at our company. For those of you who may be on here who know about United or who don't know about United, um, we're one of the largest real estate companies in the nation. We're sixth largest in the nation right now. And in North Jersey, we have about 500 agents. We have multiple offices as well. But aside from the company, it's more about the people that are in the company. Randy and I, we've been a part of United since 2016, 2017, and we've seen a lot of amazing things over the years. Um, but one of the biggest things is the number one, the culture. We're constantly working on having a collaborative effort with our agents. And number two, unlike many other places, we don't have a lot of layers of fat and middle management. So whenever we need to implement any change, we have the ability to shift and adapt and pivot, right? So it's a great company, and I think if you're an agent and you're looking at another place, definitely worth considering. And if you have any questions, you could always reach out to me or Randy.
That's it, man. 100 agents.
Yep.
We have Frank Palumbo. One of the first things Steve passed on to me was to remind people I want to help them. I can help them, but most importantly, to keep in my mind that I don't have to help them if we are not a good fit. Frank Palumbo, great guy. I haven't seen him in a while. I remember
Yeah.
our events
Energy,
we always put on.
Frankie, Energy God. What's up, Frank?
Thanks so much for being and
Absolutely.
supporting. And those that are popping in now, we are reaching that end. And I want to I appreciate Steve coming on,
Yeah,
dropping some
absolutely.
massive value. We've had lots of you in here. Randy's been here for a while. We appreciate you. And definitely, if you guys are looking to have a conversation, reach out to Steve. All his contact information's in the description. Friend request him on Instagram. Share people's content. I want to end on that. Like, share people's content. Don't just like and love stuff. Actually, share it. Comment. Any update on what people are asking about Webtalk? We don't know about Webtalk. It's in almost out coming out of beta. It's going to go public. That's why it's been down for a while for those that are popping in right now. But it's appreciative. If you guys have questions for Steve, drop them in the comments. We'll get back to you. Reach out to him personally.
Yep.
And anything else you want to any final thoughts you want to share?
Yeah, absolutely. One of my final thoughts is that, for the individuals that are in here that may not know me personally, um, aside from real estate, um, whether if in real estate, if you ever need help, whether you join United or not, you can count on me. If you need somebody to talk to, you can count on me. I think that one of the things about real estate is that it can be a very lonely business, right? You have your your business, and then you have your personal life, and sometimes you have a lot of crazy stuff happen in your personal life, and sometimes you don't really have somebody to talk to. So I'm a person that I a lot of people, and I'm not to kind of pat myself on the back, but a lot of people will come to me for advice sometimes on personal matters, and I try to give them the best piece of advice that I can, without being biased, right? Just thinking logically, right? And I'm a Virgo. They say that Virgos do that a lot, and I guess it's right. So
Yep.
people they come to me all the time. They ask me for advice, and I try to do my best. So anybody in here, if you're having an issue, real estate related, not real estate related, hit me up. I'll be happy to help you out however I can. And just focus on not only building what you're already building, but also have a good time on the way, right? Go at it knowing that you're going to get it done, because once you reach that destination, that end goal, you're going to look back and think about all the fun moments you had along the way. I could think of so many funny and good moments I had along the way up until this point. I still have a long way to go. But that's one of the recommendations I can make for some of the people that are just getting licensed and just getting into business for yourself. It's hard, but if it were easy, everybody would do it. So um, don't be afraid to put yourself out there. Don't be afraid, like Shawn said, to put video content out there. At the end of the day, sometimes we're wrapped up in our own heads that we think that we're gonna look like fools. People don't care. They don't care. If they don't like your content, that's okay. It's not for everybody. But just do you. At the end of the day, I think that's one of the things that we should all continue to do. Be your authentic self, and put in the work and don't give up.
That's it. Authenticity and don't give up.
Yep.
Thanks again, Steve. Stay with me for a moment, guys. We hope you have an awesome rest of your day.
Absolutely, guys. Take care, everybody. Have a good night. Thank you for logging in.